It's important to understand as we get into mindfulness practice that as simple as it is, when we went over those first elements and looked at the fact that most of our suffering, the things that we can control, are caused by our mind wandering in the past and future, and that when we stay more in the present moment, we eliminate that suffering. It can be deceiving to think, well, I will get this down quickly. It's something I can master readily. And yet it takes constant practice and that constant awareness for quite a while. The reason for that is we are programmed, in a sense, to think in a certain way. We learn most of this from our parents, then from our schools, siblings, friends. And when we start this practice, we realize very early on, watching our mind, that our mind does wander a lot into the past and the future. We also begin to connect that with the fact that that wandering, far more frequently than we would like, creates the stress and the anxiety because we are worrying, we are fearful, we are doubtful, we are negative, we are resentful and remorseful and regretful. And that we can eliminate that is a real eye-opener for us. So the practice, again, is very simple: to live in the present moment with awareness and with intentionality to accomplish the things we want to accomplish and experience life as fully as we can. Looking at some of the blocks to that helps us to understand what we may be going through as we begin the practice. So I want to share with you some of the very normal kind of concerns that people have raised over the years as they go through the initial part of integrative mindfulness practice. And one is, this is so simple, I can't do it though. My mind wanders all over the place. And that's true. Part of it is remembering that you are beginning the practice. And almost like beginning training of a puppy, the puppy's curious, it's going to want to go all over the place. Our minds often have been like that. They go wherever they want to, they run into the past, they run into the future. Every now and then they'll be in the present, taking care of what we need to. Right now, though, you are going to need to be able to be compassionate with that puppy, to be compassionate with your own mind, and just realize that the more you can take the awareness, follow the breath back to the present moment, the more quickly you will begin to train the mind to be comfortable staying for longer periods of time in the present moment. So that's a major concern that comes up. Another one is, I've started this and I was having great success with it, and now I'm finding that I really just, I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting really frustrated. I am not able to do it when I want to do it. One of the things that happens here is people will often be applying this in the times when there's greatest stress. Think about that a minute. It's a fairly new skill you're trying to learn. You're trying to be able to get good at staying in the present moment with awareness. And to pick the most stressful time seems to make sense because you want to end the stress. And yet, that's also the time when it's going to be most difficult to do. You might think of that as your ego mind is most scared at that moment, most in need of control, and its method of control is to take you into the past or future. So we just need to realize that it will come along, that we have to watch also our perfectionistic tendencies, thinking in our culture that, well, I understand this in my head, I should be able to do it. You know, watch the shoulds, because those are things that pull you right into the future also. Just take it where you are and keep practicing at it, and you will begin to start making progress again. Very normal in the beginning to see some good progress, and then to hit a period where you seem to plateau or stall, get back up, and you'll start to notice the progress. And that's why, again, it's key that you're applying this in all areas of your life. Any conflict situations, it's a great time to apply it. Those may be more challenging. Can you apply it when you're walking around your day-to-day? Are you aware and are you present? Are you walking tight and feeling limited? Relax. Get into it more. Observe what's around you. So the more you practice, the more it helps. When you're at home, home is a great place to do it, because think of all the things you are actually doing. The cooking, the cleaning, the watching TV, talking to friends and family. Just so many things that give you an opportunity to check in with yourself. Am I aware? Am I present? If you're not, take the 3 deep breaths, guide that awareness back to the present moment, and relax. Wander off again, come on back. There are also times when people will bring up concerns about having very strong emotional reactions. This is not uncommon at all. Often, what we begin to realize as we go into the practice is that a lot of the movement of ego mind into the past or future is a way of trying to protect us from old hurts, old wounds, old traumas that we've had. And that when we actually begin to let go of ego's control, a lot of the emotional turmoil that we had experienced can bubble up now and then. And this can be very uncomfortable. Realizing that in the practice, all of this is originating from memory is critical. Memory is there now telling you, you have these toxic memories, these toxic emotions stored away. Wouldn't you want to get rid of them? Yes, of course you would. So when they arise, instead of being frightened of them, you can sort of embrace the fact that they are there now and you want to let them go. So they come up, meet them with compassion, let them go. And that's why we practice. We practice that ability that when something moves and we can just be there with it without judgment and let it go, it's a way of detoxing from past childhood traumas, wounds, just bad experiences we've had. And we've all had them. So again, it is common for some strong emotional things to move at times, but the more you do it and the more you're very clear that these are just memories being released, and they free you then. The freedom is letting go of the emotional, physical aspect of it that releases even the belief that these things have a hold on you and control your life anymore. So those are some examples where folks have had some difficulty. Others will say, I was looking for a much greater spiritual experience, a much greater growth experience. Part is not rushing this. Here is where real patience comes in. These aspects of a deeper experience come about when we can relax more deeply. Often that will take longer sessions, not necessarily, but usually. So if you're looking for a deeper personal, spiritual experience, give yourself an opportunity for longer periods of privacy, longer periods of silence. And one of the thoughts on that is to participate in retreats where you have this time built in. You set it aside, it's there, and you can practice more. For most of us, the idea of just improving our day-to-day life by not worrying so much, being so fearful, so doubtful, or having all the should-haves, I could-haves, I wish I had, the past resentments and regrets and things, is worth everything. Our life improves, and we move in a much healthier direction, living life more fully. So today we're going to go into the practice. You're familiar with it, you've done it. What we want to do is go through the preliminaries, and now as we go into a period of silence, you will have the opportunity to, again, watch where your mind is moving, watch where the awareness is taken by ego, bring it back to the present moment, and relax. As you go along, you'll notice that you are doing this with greater ease. You're more aware, more quickly, so you're actually doing this more efficiently. We're going to begin that practice right now. Gently close your eyes, settle into your position, whatever you have found works for you. Position with the least distraction that you can maintain for 15 to 30 minutes, whatever you prefer in terms of that time block. The eyes are gently closed, cutting out the stimulation that ego likes to get a hold of and likes to pull your awareness into the past or future. Imagine turning those eyes inward, actually watching your own mind at work and letting the vision take you into that core of your being, that center part of your being. So draw your awareness to the breath. Each breath slightly deeper, slightly longer than the previous one. Moving toward your own deep, natural breath. You're aware of breathing in calmness and clarity. You breathe in what's healthy for you. You're aware of breathing out stress, confusion. You breathe out what isn't healthy for you or you don't need. The breath reminding us this is a very natural process. We take in oxygen, we breathe out CO2, take in what is healthy, let go of what isn't. As you've done this a while, you will notice that you move into that sense of presence with a nice deep breath more readily. You're aware and you're present. You feel that rise and fall of the chest and the belly, the movement of air in and out of the nose, your direct experience of breathing, not a thought, concept, or belief. Those won't keep you alive. It must be your direct experience. And this is what you're applying to your day-to-day life. When ego takes awareness past future, it pulls you out of direct experience into either memory or a fantasy, a projection. The only time that's real is the present moment, the now. You're aware, you're present. That present moment is analogous to being in the eye of the hurricane. This is the inner eye. Picture it in the core of your being. Calm, clear, peaceful, and safe. Safe is very important, as you're finding out. The past future thinking that ego does, attempting to protect us, minimize harm, actually creates a threatening situation. When we are in the present moment, we have stopped that threatening past future thinking, which generates our anxiety and stress. Now we can see more clearly, we can make better decisions in our life, and we have far more energy available to carry out whatever we want to in our life, what's important to us, what we value, what's important to our family and our communities. And yet this is practice. We must do it day in and day out. Relax, make space. And we'll like that part cut out. We'll cut that out.
Okay.
And so,
Which part?
that where that long pause is, where the long pause is.
Okay.
We'll cut that out.
Do I keep the?
The first
do I
two.
keep the pause still?
No, we'll cut that out. I'll go to applying it in our life, basically around there.
Okay.
And then It's when we can apply this in our life that we notice all the difference about being in the present moment. So as we sit here, as we do this practice, we can relax more deeply. We can watch how the mind moves, and we can guide it back to the present moment whenever it wanders away. And we do this with compassion because we know the ego mind is trying to protect us. It's just creating more turmoil, more threat. So in the safety of the present moment, and with all that potential, we can relax. And we can relax very deeply. So deeply our immune system operates optimally, which facilitates healing. We can store energy more effectively. Our body knows how to do it. And it stores a great deal of it effectively because we're not wasting it with all that past, future thinking. So relax. And feel that movement very naturally into spaciousness, the fourth element. You're not so tight, you're not so rigid. You have more freedom, more flexibility, and movement in your life. So those four preliminary elements we go through are also carried over into daily life. As you go into classes, or you go to work, or as you're with friends and family, or just walking around, are you aware and are you present? If you are, you'll be relaxed into the optimal state for what you're doing. If it's sports, it'll be a higher level of energy. If it's just sitting and calmly talking to family and friends, it's going to be a lower activity. So we take this practice directly into our life. Now the difference is we have our eyes open. So as you practice, also begin to recognize how things shift when you open your eyes, how you are able to navigate when ego is trying to distract you through its visual stimulation. And do the same practice. Come back to the present moment. 3 deep breaths. You're aware, you're present, and in the moment. So we'll have a couple minutes now, or if you wish to extend it, you may, of quiet. Watch your mind, always non-judgmentally. Bring it back to the present moment when awareness wanders off, just as you've done before. Be aware that it's off in the past, it's off in the future. Feel the consequences of it. Take the 3 deep breaths, guide it back to the present moment. We'll enter a period of silence now. At the end, you will hear 3 chimes.